Hey folks, quick video here, little bicycle wisdom. Just got off the trail. Man, I got sweat in my eyes. My eyes are red because I got sweat in my eyes. It's hot. I think it's like 76 today. All right, enough of that. Okay, if you saw the title of this video, is my permit for the garage you're building. That'll come up in this video a little bit. So, the title of this video is, why did this veteran right here quit tobacco? And so I'm gonna go through three different, 1, 2, 3, and they're in priority of probably importance, if you think about it. So you can stay for one, you can stay for two, or you can stay for all three. And I would say 3 is probably the more important message, because 3 kind of handles 1 and 2. So the number one reason why I stopped using tobacco, okay? Well, let's back up a little bit. Let me give you the background of my tobacco use. So I started dipping, in high school it was like, I had this kid in school, I was like 15 or something, and this kid dipped Skoal. And put my first dip in at 15, thought it was cool, you know, I guess, I don't know. But, you know, through high school, started dipping Kodiak, which, if you don't know, it has fiberglass in it, which actually like shreds your lip and allows the tobacco or nicotine, whatever, to get in there faster. Probably one of the stronger tobaccos. And then cars going by. And then I joined the Army and dipped and smoked my whole way through Germany, 2 years in Germany. Dipped all the way through basic AIT, airborne. Got 2 years in Germany, dipping and smoking in the club. And then I went to the Ranger Battalion, 1st Ranger Battalion. And then that is where kind of like tobacco took on a new meaning to me as a young Ranger. Because you're not in a track vehicle. You're humping your life in your rucksack, your food, your water, your ammo, everything that you need to survive, plus some extra stuff is in your backpack. And then there's this thing, you know, you're in the military, your life is not your own. You're told what to do, you do it. And tobacco was Copenhagen. In Ranger School, I ran out of Kodiak or something, or you have a dip in so often when Ranger School, because you're so, you know, just 24 hours in a day, and you're laying in the prone, you're trying to stay awake. So you end up in Ranger School kind of swapping tobacco. So I swapped, I think, a can of Kodiak for a can of Copenhagen. And then back at battalion, you know, 75th Ranger Regiment, 1st Battalion, everybody dips Copenhagen. So it just made sense to just keep dipping Copenhagen after Ranger School, because then it's just easier to swap. You know, you're not the oddball out dipping something that nobody wants. A lot of vehicles today. I live out in the middle of nowhere, so people use our road to cut through from main road to main road. They really shouldn't be here, but they are. And then I just dipped and smoked on and off, but dipped and tobacco. And I would just imagine, like, so like cutting to kind of point 2, or point 1 actually. Why did this veteran quit tobacco? And the first reason, not the most important, but the first reason I quit tobacco was I was getting ready to go to Hawaii. I think it was a couple of years ago. And I was going to Hawaii for a bow hunt. And I had the choice. I spent a lot of money. I think the price of a can of Copenhagen is 10, depending on where you are in the state of New York, you can pay anywhere from like 10 to 15, $16 for a can. No clue what a roll costs. So I was getting ready to go to Hawaii to bow hunt axis deer a couple years ago, and I had the choice. And I was like, man, I could buy a roll. And then I looked at the cost of the roll, and I looked at what I was spending on my plane ticket to Hawaii, the lodging, the Hawaii hunting license, and all this other stuff, car rental and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I could save some money, and I could use this trip. If because I figured, you know what? In Hawaii, I bet they don't have Copenhagen on the island of Lanai. Hawaii. And so I just said, okay, I'm just not going to buy any, and I'll go to Hawaii, and I'll suck it up. So the main reason was financial. I started looking at the $10 to $15 per can, times however many cans I would dip in, say, a week or a month, times 12. And it just didn't make financial sense with the life that I have. I just bought a house, I got car payments, I've got all this stuff. I go down to Florida every year. I have the money. I could take that money and I could apply it to something more important. Paying off some debt if I had any. I don't have any, but if I was a veteran and I had debt, I could definitely take it and apply it toward paying off some debt. But I go to Florida every year, and the tobacco money that I used to spend definitely helps pay for that vacation. And then now I'm putting like a $68,000 garage on the house, and it just, with where my life was going and what I was doing with my life, it just didn't make sense. So that's reason one, financially. So one veteran to another, take a look at, I didn't really need it. I didn't need that anymore. I'm not in the prone for 6, 10, 12 hours trying to stay awake, putting a dip in, to finish out that part one. Tobacco was the one thing that the military, most of the time, 99% of the time, couldn't control. There were courses where there was no tobacco allowed, like S.E.R.E school, survival, escape, resistance, evasion. I remember, got a great story for that one. No tobacco allowed. I should tell this story. So no shit, there we were, S.E.R.E school, we're in our evasion route. I think we're 5 or 6 people, and I'm the leader, I'm the team leader for our little team moving, and we come across this creek. You move in, and here's this creek, and I'm like, I'm North Carolina, there might be something to eat in the creek. As a kid, I used to catch crayfish, and I know there's freshwater mussels in the creeks, and we had caught a snake and stuff, and we had a canteen cup, and we had the ability to start fire, and we could, whatever we got, we could boil up. So the creek led to this bridge where this road was going through, which is totally stupid. You're evading. We should have done it out in the middle of nowhere. But we don't have any tobacco, and I was a big dipper back then. And we're under there. We light this little fire. We get our canteen cup. We fill it with water. We found a bunch of freshwater mussels. I had the people like, keep digging until you find one per person. Let's get a crayfish per person. Let's get, we were eating, hey Bob, we were eating the stuff with it, wild plants with it. And so we had this little fire, so the smoke was going up underneath the bridge. We didn't realize it. We're so like, oh, we're gonna eat something. We haven't eaten anything in so long. The smoke was coming up over the bridge, and so somebody must have driven over the bridge and reported to the fire department. So we're 6 S.E.R.E school students. We're supposed to be escaping and evading, and we're putting out smoke signals underneath the bridge. Really stupid. So here comes the fire engine, and we're like, oh shit, we got a fire, we got our food, what do we do? So all of a sudden these firemen come off both sides, down both sides. They got their little fire extinguishers and stuff, and they're running at us, and we're like, here we are, a military uniform, and they're like, really guys? The firemen, they're like, man, we thought we had something, So like, they're like, okay, whatever, we get it. We're like, yeah, we're S.E.R.E school students. So, and they knew what we're doing anyways. So the firemen are leaving, and I see them walk. I'll go, hey, stop. And they stop, they turn around, I go, any of you guys dip Copenhagen, anything? And the fireman reaches in his fireman's jacket, pulls out almost a full can of Copenhagen, throws it at me. So our little evasion team, we had Copenhagen, we just take little pinches and we'd share it. So we had tobacco for our evasion route. Anywho, so one, if you're a veteran and you're having financials, if you have debt, if you're using a Visa card to go pay for your Copenhagen or your cigarettes or whatever it is at $10 to $16 a pack, consider trying to wean yourself off of the tobacco, okay? And get yourself back on a positive financial status and then move from there. It might be a small thing, but you never know. It's one thing, it's the small things. And then you add up the small things, and it becomes a big thing. I pick up cans. I got 12 cans on the ground that I just got done picking up for my Cans for Veterans. 45-minute ride, I picked up 12 cans. You know, that's 60 cents. I do that 10 days in a row. I got $6. I do that every month for a year. I have $300 in a plastic container that I can use to buy fishing licenses, hunting licenses, fishing lures, whatever I need. It adds up. $300. What could you do with $300? Could you pay your electric bill? Could you pay off a Visa? Could you pay a portion of a Visa? Anywho, you get off that. So let's go to reason number 2. Number 2 reason was I got 4 kids, and I was trying to be a positive example for my 4 children. Specifically, in my message to my children has always been, never get yourself addicted really to anything. Never put yourself in a position. Coffee, I drink 1, 2, maybe 3 cups of coffee a day until it does what it's supposed to do, and then I'm done. I drink water for the rest of the day. You've seen my hydration video. If you haven't, look it up. I'll put the hydration video in this link. So look for the hydration video down on the base of this video. You can click and watch that next. And then I have a couple beers in the evening. You know, I'm working on that too. I could get rid of that at $30, a 30 pack times whatever. I could save more, hundreds of dollars annually. But I wanted to, my kids have always seen me, Dad in the evening, putting a chaw in, spitting in a bottle. What a great example for my kids I was, huh? But it was a good chance for me to go, the next time I saw my kids, they're in their 20s now. My kids just go, oh, there's Dad. He wears a baseball cap. He dips. He wears boots. He goes hunting. He's that guy. And I was like, I quit tobacco. Kids are like, what? So it was good. It was good to see it, and they're proud of me. My kids have been through hell with me, with my PTSD and my TBI and all that stuff. And so right now, like rebuilding those relationships with my 4 kids who, you probably know the story, surrounded me and called me an asshole and told me they never want anything to do with me. So now I have 20-year-olds that see me like I don't drink as much as I used to. My rage issues, I definitely don't rage like I used to. My emotional control issues are way down because I'm doing positive things with my life, because I have a plan, and so for me to be able to tell my kids, well, I quit tobacco, I don't need it. And then sometimes, for me to, like, through WhatsApp or whatever, yeah, I'm taking the month of March off from drinking. Just not going to drink for a month. And then I talk to my kids, have you ever thought about taking a week off from drinking? They live in Germany, so they start drinking beer at 16. All right, and rule number 3, if you made it this far in the video, this is probably the most important part of the video, in my mind. So 23, it's 15 September, and I just looked at the calendar yesterday, and on the calendar, on 23 September, I have on there that this is my born again day. So, some of you know my story. Because of my anger management issues, I think my wife was afraid that I was going to hurt her and hurt the kids. So I got kicked out of the house in August of 2012 and kind of ended up on the street. Lived in some different people's places, ended up moving into a building in Germany and turning that into the Jaeger store. But where was I going with that? There's your TBI. Oh, so here I am. I got nothing, you know. My wife just kicked me out. I died in 2007. 5 years later, I get kicked out of the house. You know, I got this real rough relationship with my kids anyways. So, like, I'm going way down. You know, I'm in a really bad place, you know. And there were times where I could have maybe hurt myself or hurt somebody else. Another positive message I can put on this one is my 23-year-old son just visited me for 3 weeks. I'm rebuilding those relationships. I can do that because I'm working on myself. The Lord is working on me. Part number 3. And now my 27-year-old's visiting me. You know, if I had hurt myself back then, or I had hurt somebody else, I had allowed myself to rage and hurt somebody else, and I was either in the ground or in jail, you know what I wouldn't be doing right now? Rebuilding relationships with my 23-year-old who was, you know, 16 when they surrounded me and told me I was a-hole and they didn't want anything to do with me. My daughter was 18 and my oldest son was 20. And now my 27-year-old is here visiting with his girlfriend. So number 3, part number 3 is the Lord put that store within 100 meters of a church, and I ended up kind of homeless, moving into, you know, while Jaeger was able to put together some money and purchase this building that hadn't been occupied for 20 years, cables hanging from the ceiling. I went and bought this fold-out, really thin mattress. I'm literally like as thick as this bottle was the mattress. And I slept in one of the empty offices in the back on the floor. And the crazy part is, like, I want you to contemplate every 2 weeks when I had my visitation, I went out and bought 4 more of those really thin, trifold little mattress things, as thick as this bottle. I remember my hips used to hurt because my bony hips would be rubbing on the floor. That's how little they did for you. But my kids would come visit me in this building with cables hanging from the ceiling, dirt all over the place. Every 2 weeks, my kids had to come visit me, you know, in that building. And then I'd drive them home to their mom where they had everything. But there was a church 100 meters from the store, and I didn't have a lot of money. I barely had anything to eat. But the church down the street, they had like something on Tuesday, they had something on Thursday where there was food involved, and then there was like Saturday something where there was food involved, and then there was Sunday service where there was some kind of food. There was always coffee, donuts, who knows. So I get something to eat. But from 2 August to 23 September, the Lord really started working on me and breaking me down and peeling the armor off. You know, when you're a veteran and you're in that place, when you're living under a bridge, you have this armor on. Or like, you know, you get hit by a car and you die on the side of the road, and now you have to put yourself back together, blah, blah, blah. You have anger management issues, and everybody's pointing the finger at you, and you're being prideful and selfish and not humble. And it's all about you, right? You're the one doing all these things. And the armor started coming off, the pieces of armor. I realized I didn't need this armor, and I started peeling it off. This was before Germany imported 2.4 million Afghani and Iraqi veterans, and I had to put some of that armor back on. Conversation for another day. But On 23 September 2012, I got down on my knees and cried like a baby. And the Lord lifted all the weight of all my sin and everything off of me. And I became a follower of Christ. I gave myself to Christ. And over my life, I started from that point forward. Over time, well, during my bike ride, I was trying to think about how to make this shorter. I'm already at 20 minutes in this video. But probably video for a future day. You know, the Lord is preparing you for what he has prepared for you. And here I sit with a 501c3 veteran support organization. And now, you know, I take the help that I needed when I was a veteran, that I wish I had when I was a veteran, that I didn't have when I was a veteran. And that's what I'm trying to do for other veterans. I'm trying to be like a foundational stone, a rock that maybe that veteran who doesn't have any friends, who's living under a bridge, who's isolated and it doesn't have any help. I'm trying to be that rock for that person, for that veteran. But in the process, the Lord, I say taking the armor off, but part of it is really the Lord peeling the layers of the onion back and trying to get to the real you, the center, the you, so he can work on you, so he can, you know, break you down and then rebuild you in his image so you can be more Christ-like. And you become a vessel. You become a vessel. You become this bottle that holds water, but you become a body that the Lord can fill with his love, and then he can put people in your life. The more you listen, the more you can speak God's language or be receptive to what the Lord is saying to you, the more he can give you things to do. You can do them, and then his reward. What do you give a soldier that does a really good job, right? More work. So that's how it works with the Lord. But what a blessing that is to have the Lord like put a veteran in your life, and then you take him down to the VA and you get him 100%, and he now goes from nothing to $4,000 a month. Life-changing. And then, you know, you're like, take a breath, and then the Lord gives you another one. How would you feel if the Lord was doing that with you? So tobacco, part of me, the Lord was working on me with the tobacco already. So me going to Hawaii and using that as an excuse to kind of like, well, the money and the kids. But really, I was trying to clean up the vessel. So in order to be more Christ-like and for the Lord to work on you as he's working on you, you have all these habits and things that you do in life. Tobacco, alcohol, women, cars, guns, whatever it is, you know, and you don't need that stuff to carry out the purpose that the Lord has for you, you know. I'm not going to be in a position in my life ever again where I'm laying in the prone for 12 hours trying to stay awake, pulling security, and the only thing I can do is put a dip in, and that's the only thing that I can control. You know, I've got an NCO who's putting me down, giving me sectors of fire, putting me, you know, ties me into the guy to my right, ties me into the guy to my left. Good to go. And that's where you're at. And the only thing you can do, you can drink water. You take a knee and go pee. And you can't eat. You cannot eat. You can drink water if you want to. And you can put a dip in. You can have some Copenhagen. You can't smoke. Hence why most, you know, Rangers chew tobacco or dip Copenhagen. So that kind of finalizes this video. There's a lot in here. A little bit of stories, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. That's how my videos are. If you haven't seen some of my other videos, you know, give this channel a like. Give this video a like. Maybe subscribe to the channel and then peruse around. Maybe comment on this video. Have you quit tobacco? What other things are you dealing with in your life? Tobacco, alcohol, porn, gambling, adultery. Are there other things in your life that you're trying to give up? You know, give us a comment, and maybe this video will help you along your path. That's what I hope. It's about the one. You'll hear me say this in many of your videos. I don't care about, you know, all the people that turn this video on and turn it off because I need it. I'm worried about the one veteran, the one person that needed this message, that maybe was considering, well, I've always thought about quitting tobacco, but haven't really found a reason yet. Maybe you got a reason now. So thanks for watching. Again, Ricky Mills with Wild Jaeger Veteran Adventures, giving you my perspective on why this veteran quit tobacco a couple years ago.